Hello everyone and welcome to the 9th episode of Java Kickstart. And so today's topic is going to be exception handling, and like all our videos it is based off of the textbook Absolute Java by Walter Savitch. In our last video we discussed arrays and how you can use it to store lists of values rather than needing to have just an entire long list of just like random variables. You can just store it all in an array, which makes your code a lot more clean and much easier. And so today's lesson is very, very important because you're going to face a lot of times in which you have exceptions and things are just going to get difficult, and it's just like it could be a pain if you don't know what you're doing. So there's a few, and I guess the most common ones are null pointer exception, and then array index out of bound, and there's a few more, but these are the two that I'm going to focus on in this lesson today. So a null pointer exception means that something is not initialized and you're trying to do something with it. So for example, if I go int I, that's not initialized. That one is initialized to something called null. Now you'll notice when I try to print it, let's go I, okay, we already have an error from the IDE. Now not all IDEs can notice that there's a null pointer exception, and that's something that you could, one, tell yourself, or two, the IDE can do for you. Now IntelliJ is very advanced, very useful, and so it won't even let you run the code from the first place. Okay, but some IDEs are different, okay? And what you're gonna see is just a bunch of red and then null pointer exception. I don't know if you can actually, yeah, it won't let me run it, but it'll tell you here that like variable I might not have been initialized. And so if I were to go like equals 0, that error is gone. But what if I try playing around with it and go equals null? Well, obviously there's gonna be an issue because you're providing a type null to a value that's there. So there's two ways to approach this. One, you can do if I does not equal null. Oops, let's get rid of that. There we go. Then print that. Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Okay, so actually the best way to do it is try. Sorry, I should probably do that. Try system.out.print I. And then there's obviously an error because you have to catch null pointer exception E. And there you go. So this is what we call the try and the catch. So try says exactly as it says. I want to try this. Okay? And then if there is a null pointer exception, then I want to print the fact that there's a null pointer exception. So let's just print there is a null pointer. Okay? And so the try and the catch help you, prevent your code from crashing, okay? Which it is possible to crash. And then we can do system.exit with int status 1, which means there's a null pointer exception. And then you can always go back and notice the fact that, oh, we have system.exited with a status of 1, which means there must be a null pointer exception, okay? What's an array index out of bound? This you're most likely going to see several times. So let's declare an integer array j equals new int, and then let's go 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I only have 0, 1, 2, right? So say for example I do a for loop, j equals equals 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus, system.out.print. There's going to be an error in that it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's give that a try. Actually that should be 4, sorry. There, 4. And yeah, let's try that now. Boom. Exception in thread main, java.lang array index out of bound. Index 3 is out of bounds for length 3, okay, which means it's looking for a value that's at 0, 1, 2, 3. but there is no value there. And so it's going to give you an error called array index out of bound. So again, how do we do that? Well, you're going to try this, and then you're going to catch, not null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception, and then you're going to write index, let's go index I plus space is out of bounds, and then let's exit system. So with let's go 2 instead. So as you'd expect, index 3 is out of bounds, process finished with exit code 2. And so you need to know when, the type of exceptions that you might get. These are the 2 most common ones I feel like you're probably going to run into. Then again, you can, if you ever get an error, like let's just say, for example, we get, we go back to how it used to be when you saw that exception in thread main, you can just put a bunch of try catch everywhere, and then try and pinpoint exactly where that mistake is. And that helps you with, maintaining the exceptions, because if you don't know how to, fix those, it's gonna be, you can be writing like 100 line 200 line code and then just get like one exception, fix one exception, get a second. So if you don't know how to efficiently use that, use the try and catch, it could be, it could be a pain. And so you need to know when there's a possibility of being an error and how to fix it. So if there's a null pointer exception, figure out what's not initialize it. If you're doing a try, if you're doing like an array index out of bounds, you know that you're going too far in trying to read values. Null pointer exceptions are going to be very, very common. If I were to declare a value methods and just leave it at that, and then I try to system.out.print just m, it's not gonna, it will tell you, because again, but there is an exception. Again, this is just an IntelliJ thing. It's a very powerful IDE, but not all do that. They might just give you a null pointer exception. And so again, keep your eye out for those, especially null pointer exceptions are usually the most annoying ones, because they're the hardest to spot if you don't have a proper IDE. And yeah, so that's the last video in terms of content. Our next video is going to be a little bit of a project in getting you to understand, just wrap around everything that we just did. And yeah, so thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.